non sarà mai spedita. Cos'è la realtà? Io non lo so più. Ad occhi aperti il mio sogno sei tu. Io ti amo, sì, ti amo, quando ti amo. Guardo la gente, mano per mano, nessuno capisce quello che provo. Respiro il silenzio dei tuoi pensieri. Un giorno sarai tutto quello che speri. Io ti amo, sì, ti amo, quando ti amo, quando ti amo.
Nights in the satin, never reaching the end.
Letters I've written, never meaning to send, and I love you. Yes, I love you. Oh, I love you. Yes, I love you. Oh, I love
Okay, the wonderful Rhydian there, Nights in White Satin, and you know what, I love that track, it's amazing. Rhydian is coming to Chepstow Castle, what a venue to perform, and we've got him live here on the phone at the moment. Good evening, Rhydian.
Evening, Steve.
And you know, all right, that was a great performance.
Well, thanks very much. That's the lead track from my new album, One Day Like This, and I've always wanted to sing Nights in White Satin because I think it's a great song.
Yes,
but,
yes.
I didn't want to just do a carbon copy of Justin Hayward's version, which I love, but
Yeah.
you know, my version, obviously, you can hear the first part's in Italian, and it's very much classical crossover. So, which is who I am. So yeah, I enjoyed producing that track.
That's one thing you're very clever at, aren't you? Is using that classical crossover with sort of pop tracks and as well.
Well, it's kind of what excites me. And growing up, when I was at music school, I used to listen to the likes of Josh Groban, and also a lot of the stuff that Gene Steinman did,
Right.
And Freddie Mercury, and you know, especially Josh. He's got a classical tone to his voice, and yet it's kind of popular classical music. And then
Yes.
if you look at people like Freddie, they're singing rock songs, but
Yeah.
their delivery is very theatrical
Yeah,
and
you're right.
almost operatic in some of the belting they're doing, some of the top notes.
Mm.
So that's who I am, really. That's what I love to do, combining the classical with the pop.
Yeah, it is great, and it shows very, very clear. I mean, the one, and we always play, especially on my show, we do a lot of 80s and 90s stuff. I mean, you did an album called Waves, which is sort of basically 80s synth stuff, wasn't it?
Well, thanks for bringing that up, Steve. Yeah, I was very proud of that album. That was my third album, and I worked with Greg Fitzgerald. And, yeah, the concept, as you said, was 80s synth music, but an obscure, not obvious songs. You know, I didn't want to just do Spandau Ballet and all of that. I wanted to pick songs that were perhaps huge over in America, but not so well known in the UK. And so we
Yes.
kind of reworked those songs. You know, artists like The Lover Speaks and Parade When in Rome, Breathe, Hands to Heaven.
Yes, great song.
You know, so I had fun doing that. It was a kind of a move to the left. A lot of my audience weren't expecting it, but I think the critics were very kind about it.
It was, I mean, we played Hands to Heaven earlier on, which is you know, again, you did a superb job at that. An absolutely fantastic job. Now then, as well as doing a fantastic job with your albums, I mean, we'll speak about the new one very shortly, but you've also done a little bit of stage presence as well, haven't you? In theatrical,
as far as musicals?
musical theatrical, yeah, sort of, you know.
Yeah, I very much enjoy theatre. After my music degree, I had a place to go on to the Royal Academy
Right.
in London to study musical theatre, and it's
Yes.
always been a passion of mine.
Right.
So, yeah, I've enjoyed performing in musicals as well as recording albums.
So which has
and,
been your
touring,
favourite?
doing solo tours, yeah. I mean, what have I been in recently? The Rocky Horror Show.
Yeah.
I played Rocky in that, and before then I was in Greece, and then prior to that I was in We Will Rock You, which I was thinking about today, actually. I was listening to one of the Queen songs. I thought, I remember the opening of We Will Rock You. And singing that. It was brilliant. Yeah. And what started it off really professionally was when Jeff Wayne rang me up and said, would I like to be in the War of the Worlds? I said, would I ever? I'd love to.
Yeah. I mean, that was cool, I bet.
Awesome, you know, and that's actually, it's all connected, because that's where I met Justin Hayward of the Moody Blues, because he was touring with us on that show.
Oh, wow.
He was on the original sound recording, of course, and lovely man, and got chatting about that song, Nights in White Satin, and I thought, right, let's record it, and I'm lucky enough to put it on this new album.
Mm-hmm. But one thing I will say is what is your favourite? You've mentioned you've done a few. What was your favourite? Was it sort of, say, the War of the Worlds, or was it sort of the Rocky Horror? Which one was your favourite?
That's a great question. I like them all for different reasons. I think the most fun was definitely Rocky Horror Show.
I can understand
the
that,
audience
yeah.
interaction, and it's just a great show. And it's,
Yeah.
you know, and the character I was playing was just fun. For the kind of rapport with the cast with Grease, certainly I loved that show. I loved that cast. We Will Rock You is fab because of the soundtrack. I love Queen, so with Brian May, and I remember on opening nights of some of the shows we did, Brian came along and played, and that was a huge memory for me to work with him and actually be on stage performing with him. And then the War of the Worlds, because it was my first professional theatre show. So, yeah, I mean, that probably doesn't answer your question, but yeah.
Every one of them.
I love it. I love them all for different reasons.
If you was had an opportunity to do something like that again, have you got one in mind?
Oh, well, I would love to play one of the roles in Sweeney Todd.
Yeah.
Jekyll and Hyde.
Wow.
Some of the Sondheim stuff as well. More obscure musicals like Merrily We Roll Along. The Phantom of the Opera. There's loads of roles in Les Mis I'd like to play. I mean, the only trouble with theatre is it's very time consuming.
Yes.
Doing 8 shows a week. And sometimes you're on the road for a year. But so that leaves very little time to do anything else.
Yes, that's right.
But I've been lucky enough up until now to just kind of dip in and out of theatre while still sort of retaining the ability to have time to record and do solo tours. So that's a nice balance if you can make it happen. That's not to say I won't ever go in the West End and do a long run. I'd love to do that just for the challenge, you know.
Yeah,
it's on my list of 50 things to do, a year run in the West End. along next to the marathon. I want to do the marathon as well. They're
Really?
very, very similar to each other in a way.
That's-
It's some feat, and I really do take my hat off to the performers who perform. Sometimes not just for 1 year's run. Some people have been doing the same role for 2 years. I think John Owen Jones, our Welsh singer,
Yes.
he did Phantom. I'm sure he did for 2 years.
Wow.
So he's got the record for the most performances,
Yeah.
and that's draining. It really is draining.
Yeah. And I suppose it doesn't do a lot for the voice either there.
It depends who you are, I think. You've got to really look after the voice, and which I do. Yeah, I mean, some people would say the more performances you do, the stronger the voice gets.
Okay.
But some of these shows are so taxing. So someone like Dr. Jekyll and Jekyll and Hyde, there's a lot of shouting in that. It's a huge role. Would I want to do that for 2 years solid, 8 shows a week? Probably not. Because I'd love to be singing when I'm 75.
Yes, of course.
I think looking after the voice now and making the right decisions is all important for me. So there are certain roles I wouldn't take on.
I mean, you've wowed the country and beyond, basically, with your voice and your talent. It's been absolutely fantastic. One of the things, I say, you come into Chepstow Castle in Wales, which is a fantastic backdrop to do a performance. How do you feel about that?
So I've heard. I've never actually been to the castle, and I passed through Chepstow, and I used to play rugby against Chepstow. But I'm very much looking forward to this setting, and I'm just praying that it's going to be good weather.
Oh, of course, yes,
I did
that's the main.
Last week up in Lytham St Anne's with Michael Ball and Leslie Garrett and Kerry Ellis, and it was a great event. It really was. I think there were 8,000 people there.
Wow.
Really good production. And but the heavens opened, and the audience stuck it out, and they started to play "Singing in the Rain." So we made light of it, but we all prefer better weather, and I'm hoping it's going to be good weather, and I'm sure it will be. It's 30th of August,
Well, yes.
so a great time of the year to do a show. I've got a great guest singing with me, Shan Coffey, the amazing Shan Coffey, soprano, who's a great friend of mine, and I'll have a support act as well, and I'll be singing songs from my new album, One Day Like This, and something old, something new as well, and I'll have a live band. I'm very much looking forward to performing at Chepstow Castle.
We'll talk about the album right now. I mean, One Day Like This is a great album. More to the point, #1 spot in the official classical charts for 10 weeks.
Yeah, I was delighted with that result. That was the goal with the album, was to get a #1 in the classical charts, because my first 4 albums didn't. Oh no, sorry, the second one did qualify, and we had a #2 in the charts. But I've always wanted a #1, so we got that, and thanks to everybody who bought it, and it's been a memorable year for me. We worked very hard on this album, and we managed to sustain #1 for 10 weeks, which I can't argue with that. We're very happy, and did pretty well in the official charts as well. So that was nice to be back there and have my old management who look after One Direction and Leona Lewis. Well, not anymore Leona actually, but One Direction and Ollie Mears. They rang me up to say congratulations.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It was great. And this album is very much controlled by me. Everything's decided by me, and you can hear that reflected in the record. It's I'm most comfortable with these songs. I sing duet with Bonnie Tyler, a song called Miserere. You've just heard Nights of White Satin, but I've also do some standard songs as well, like Ave Maria, Nessun Dorma as a bonus track.
Yes.
I do a duet called Vivo Palais, which is one of my favourite songs, with the West End star Kerry Ellis.
Right.
Amongst others. I mean, there's 16 tracks on the album. It's like 2 albums in one.
I was just going to say, that's really good value for money there.
Well, I'd like to think so. Yeah. I mean, it's an expensive album. It was to make. We used a great orchestra, and on some of the tracks we used a further orchestra, and we went to Denmark, and there was a 75-piece orchestra on some of the tracks. But there's also there's a lovely chamber orchestra, the Orchestra St. John's. Some of my fans actually, they pledged to come and watch the recording day, and it was a lovely day. And they were there in the St. John Smith Square listening to the recording. and they were more sort of baroque songs like Ombra Mai Fu and songs like Virgin Tutto Amor, which some of you might think, what? Well, but Ombra Mai Fu, Ombra Mai Fu di vegetabile. Some of you might think, oh, still don't know it, but it's a famous song by Handel. And actually, I chose a song like that because it was the first aria I ever learnt at college when I was 14.
Wow.
And every single song has a story behind it. Like the Pearl Fishers duet is a key song on the album because that's the melody that made me want to be a professional singer.
Okay.
It's so beautiful. And I've duetted with myself, and really pleased with the result. I recorded a video for that as well and released it as a single.
Yeah,
so I'll be doing that at Chepstow Castle.
We're going to play that very shortly. At the end, we speaking to you now. Duet with yourself. How was that sort of put together? That must have been quite clever in respect of knowing where you are.
Well, yeah. I mean, the difficulty is, of course, being a baritone and a tenor, and the range, what the requirements of the range in one's voice. But I worked very hard over the past 2 years to extend my range, and I've said before, that I'm a frustrated tenor, Steve. I'm definitely a baritone. You can probably hear that in my speaking voice, but we love the money notes, they call them, the high notes, and I've worked very hard to get a top C and a C sharp. And actually, the Pearl Fishers only has, it's slightly lower. There's a B in it and a B flat, and so I recorded the tenor part and I did the baritone part. What's lovely about that song is it leaves it open to live performances with other tenors, baritones, and there's a series of people I'd love to sing that with. I did it the other day with a Welsh tenor, Aled Hall. Some of the listeners might know he's got a show on S4C. I did a program called Llwyfan, and we did the duet, which was nice to have somebody who would agree to sing it with me. It's nice to see two men duetting, isn't it? You very often
of course.
have male and female, but rarely have two guys in a concert. So, here's to more of, male duets.
That was one of my questions, actually. Who, if you could pick somebody to duet with, who would it be?
Oh, great question. Dolly Parton. I know she's not a male.
Wow.
But I love her voice, and I love her character, and I love her songwriting capability. And I actually think that our voices, weirdly enough, would blend. I thought the same with Bonnie Tyler, and people went, "What, Bonnie Tyler in your voice?" I said, "Yeah, just trust me." And it did really work, and you can hear that on the album. Aside from Dolly, there's loads of people. I mean, in the world of opera, Vittorio Grigolo is an amazing young tenor. He's brilliant. In the world of pop, is Celine Dion. I mean, she's a fantastic vocalist. But yeah, I thrive on singing duets. I'm doing a concert just a week before the Chepstow gig on the Thames, Prom on the Thames.
Lovely.
Greenwich with Russell Watson.
Yes.
Named The Voice, if you remember. He kind of was one of the first people to cross that, in the modern world anyway. I know Mario Lanza and all that came years ago, and they're great. But then Russell came out with singles like Nella Fantasia and stuff back in the 90s. And so for me to sing with him is a pleasure, So I'll be singing with him. I might be doing a duet with Kerry, if we're allowed to do it. But yeah, duetting, I just love duets, But yeah, I hope that's answered your question with who. I mean, Bryn Terfel was a fan of mine. I don't know if he's a fan of mine. I was a fan of his rather, and I've always wanted to sing with him. And of course, one of the great things about my career is the people I get to meet and work with. And on my second album, Bryn Terfel and I, we sang a duet of Mavanui, and it was a real moment for me. And we've sung that in concert as well.
But one thing I will imagine, the fact coming to Wales, and as you know yourself, everybody in Wales love to sing, and I'm sure when everybody comes to Chepstow to see you, it's going to be one of those events where everybody's just really join in with you.
Well, I'd love them to. That would be brilliant.
Yeah.
That there's nothing more special than hearing a chorus of people singing back at you. That's wonderful. I don't expect it, though. Don't think you have to sing if you come along to Chepstow. Just listen if you want. But it's a universal language, music, isn't it? That's the beauty of it. and I feel very honoured to be sort of part of that. It's my world, it's my life, and my job.
Yes, you've done a fantastic. I mean, since you wowed us back in 2007, whatever it was, and you really you've wowed all the UK and obviously the world as well with what you've done, and it's absolutely fantastic. And you've got that. I think for me, it's one of those voices that you hear and you could just sort of relax and mellow and enjoy every single moment of it, and that's what I love about yourself.
Well, that's very kind of you. Thank you. I think. My aim is to move an audience, to stir audience emotions,
Mm-hmm.
If I'm doing that, if I'm connecting, then I'm doing my job. There's great songs out there, and I work hard. I make no apology for it. I work very hard on my voice and the colors that I use to paint phrases.
Yes.
And also trying to maintain a decent technique. Because some of these songs I sing on One Day Like This, my album, are very technically challenging. There's a huge range. Mm-hmm. Whereas perhaps on Waves, the range of songs was a lot easier to sing.
Mm-hmm.
A different kind of album, I don't say, but some of the songs on the new album I wouldn't be able to sing if I didn't work very hard at it.
Mm-hmm. I understand that, yes.
So.
Yeah. All right, for everybody who wants to get down to Chepstow Castle, we got to say it's Saturday the 30th of August, not far away. It's the week after bank holiday, so the rain would have gone. And it's going to be a great day. Saturday the 30th of August at Chepstow Castle. Rhydian is going to be performing live. Tickets are available. Please have a look on ticketline.co.uk. Have a look at Castle Rock, all one word, Castle Rock, and that's 2 L's, rock, without the K.co.uk. Have a look at that. Get your tickets to see Rhydian. It's going to be an amazing gig. The weather's going to be gorgeous, and he's just going to wow the audience.
And you've also got Sharon Coffey, who
exactly.
a lot of your listeners will know and love, and she'll be performing with me and doing some solos as well. And she always goes down well with audiences. She's sublime and a great character.
Yes, and it's a great night of entertainment, really, isn't it?
I will make sure it is. Yeah, it'll,
no doubt. Yeah. Like I say, you've got the Welsh crowd behind you. You're going to have a great night.
Well, I hope there'll be people as well coming from all over Britain. That's what we're anticipating.
Yes.
I know there's people coming down from Scotland and England as well. But yeah, if we can get people in the area to come along and it'd be, it's I don't know when I'll be performing in Chepstow next. That's the beauty of what I do. I go around the country and I visit these amazing places and venues, and then you think, it'd be nice to go back there, but you have to wait your turn, and so this is my turn to play Chepstow, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. That's my next big concert. Before then, I've got the Russell Watson, but I'm only doing a bit part in that.
Okay.
So yeah, come along. I'd love to see you.
We're going to finish this now with an album off your track, which is the Pearl Fishers duet. We're going to play that very shortly for you. Rhydian, thank you very much for your time. I know you're a very busy guy, and thanks for coming on to BRFM. It's been an absolute pleasure. It really has. And we wish.
Likewise, Steve. Thanks so much.
We wish you all a very success on that gig, on that night, and of course, forthcoming sort of live events that you're going to be doing as well. Have a great one.
Thank you, mate. Bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you.
Au fond du plaza, Paris de fleurs et d'or, une femme apparaît, une femme je crois la voir encore, je crois la voir encore. La foule prosternée la regarde d'ennui cacher son visage, mourra, hélas, la cherche en vain. Isabelle, c'est la déesse, en ce jour qui vient nous unir, et fidèle à ma promesse, je me ferai chérir. Soyons unis jusqu'à la
What a lovely duet there. Pearl Fisher's duet. Obviously, Rhydian singing with himself there. All right, if you want tickets to see him live at Chepstow Castle, Saturday the 30th of August, then get your pen and paper right now. Ticketline.co.uk. Ticketline phone number then 044 888 991. Or you can also have a look at the Castle Rock webpage. That's all the www.castlerock, that's castle with 2 L's, rock without a K.co.uk. Or you could ring Hannah's Music then 01291 627 122. Get your tickets now. That is going to be an amazing gig. Thank you very much to Rhydian Roberts there, and what a great chat that was. And thank you for everybody else who was listening, who was great fans.
When I grow up,